being able to just go cold turkey,
It's very tough.
tricky, you know, like it's what's around me. So I had to respect that. In February, I decided I was going to smoke less weed because in January I was smoking quite a lot of weed throughout the day, which is not typical for me. I'm generally a nighttime user. I use it to wind down and reflect on the day.
I think that's the best way.
I think that's 100% the best way, unless you've got, you know, some kind of medical condition and, you know, you really need it for that pain relief or something that really calms you down. We're talking real issues that are not just your mental kind of state. You know, physical pain, nerve damage, you know, there's a whole thing, you know, you might have multiple scoliosis, there's all that sort of stuff. But what I was doing was I was masking a lot of pain throughout the day because I was going through some pretty big changes within my business and it was just so fucking stressful. Like, you know, and there was a lot of hurt there. And I'm someone who can operate pretty well stoned. Like I can work on my business as stoned. Like it's not ideal always. But most of the time it's good. The only times I really don't like it is when I have to have client calls, sales calls, you know, really one-on-one. But if it's me working on background shit, I can be stoned. Like, as long as I'm not completely ripped, I'm good. But the thing is, I was smoking mostly through this thing, the Vestrato. This thing, you know, it only takes a 0.1 gram. So I don't feel guilty. It's like I'm only having a small dose. But what I was doing, and it took a little while, maybe a couple of weeks for me to realize, it's like every time I'm doing a task that kind of hurts because I had an employee leave, right? I'd hit that thing because I'm like, fuck, I hate this. Like it's just how things had transpired. It's just, you know, an uncomfortable feeling. And I'm like, fuck, I just keep masking that fucking feeling. So in February, I was like, you know what? I'm going to not smoke weed for the month. I didn't succeed at all. I'll say that straight away. I went about 5 days before I had a first toke, and it was about the weekend. And the reason I had the toke was I actually had friends come up from Sydney that I hadn't seen in 2 years, and we actually only know each other because of cannabis. So I'm like, of course I'm going to smoke with these people. Like, And the thing I have to, something I kind of have to give myself leniency in. I talk about weed all day, every day. That's my fucking job. So being able to just go cold turkey,
it's very tough,
tricky, you know, like it's what's around me. So I had to respect that. So what I did, I pretty quickly realized, okay, I'm just not going to smoke on the weeknights. I'm going to make that where I'm clean and sober, see how I'm feeling, let myself reset a little bit and, you know, reevaluate at the end of the month. Because I just realized it's just not going to happen. There's too much, I don't know. I can do it. I know I could, but I'd have to just change other parts of my life that I couldn't change. So that made it just tricky. But it let me reflect on myself. It let me reflect on my weed usage. It let me see, you know, why I was using it, where I was using it, because I now had to feel that pain a little more. I was still taking CBD just to keep kind of my baseline pretty calm. I think it's probably a good idea if you're someone who's smoked for a really long time and you want to stop, maybe grab some CBD first, wean yourself down because it can be pretty nasty. But what was interesting, I realized there's two things I realized, two really big ones that like made me go, fuck, that's probably pretty bad. I realized since 2017, since I returned from Amsterdam, I've probably smoked weed every single day till 2023. Probably like in the evenings, typically. Maybe there was a day or two missed here and there, probably because it wasn't around. But fuck, it almost guaranteed consistent nightly use. And I'm like, okay, it's probably not for the best. You know, I can definitely have that break here and there, like absolutely. So I had that realization. And now that game I was mentioning before, Dota, I was playing and I'm like, because I was trying to figure out what to do with myself when I was sober. Like in the evening, I was so jittery, I was restless. Like, I'm fucking bored. What do I do with myself? And it's like, do the things you normally would do or whatever. Like I figured out.
Let's stay on that for a second though. Like about being bored and then wanting to use weed. I think that's a huge reason why me and everybody else wants to get high, is because we are bored and we want to get high. If you've smoked weed, I'm willing to bet 9 out of 10 times you want to get high because you're bored, and you don't want to do something that you know you should be doing. And here's 100%. The thing, when you get high, it doesn't mean you're not bored, because most of the times you'll get high and then you might be bored,
but you're enjoying yourself.
But you're enjoying your own thoughts now, and you're a little less worried about your ability to feel that boredom. And that's all that happened. Like fundamentally nothing changed. I think it's super important to call this out, because it's like I do agree with not over judging yourself. Like you said, you were going to take a break and you couldn't do it. Like it was hard for you. It's fine. Like it can be challenging. If someone on the internet's like, oh, that's you being, you know, a pussy and weak-minded, fuck them. Like if it's hard for you, it's hard for you. So I like the idea of, weaning yourself down. That's smart. But I also like the idea of someone challenging themselves to do some shit that they haven't fucking done before. And like realizing that you actually have that power right now if you decided to say, fuck it, I'm not smoking anymore, and just see what the fuck happens. And like really see what happens and like push yourself as far as you can. You will find something about yourself. I bet you that was revelatory or like just huge insights that you're gonna get about yourself if you do that process. And then you could go back. You could always fucking go back to weed. It's not going anywhere.
That's 100% it.
You can always go back to being how fucking stupid you were with it before. It's okay.
Yep, that's it. But what the other little realization that I had, I was playing Dota and I'm like, fuck, I've never played this game sober. Damn. Like I that's a game I've spent about maybe 3,500 hours on over the course of almost 10 years. I haven't played it sober. And I was just like, that's fucked. Like that's such a fucked feeling that like sat with me. I'm like, how is it that I'm enjoying this game if I have to be high to enjoy it? And so I had to question, do I enjoy the game as much when I'm not high? And the answer was yeah, but a little less. Definitely a little less. I still appreciated it for everything it was, but I just started to realize, hang on, there's other things that I do enjoy doing more. For me, a big one's guitar. I absolutely love playing guitar. I picked that up in my 20s, and I would say to this day, it's probably one of the most rewarding things I think I've ever done.
Yeah, music is fantastic. I love to listen to like Alan Watson to get high and like, or listen to music or play music. I'm a drummer. I would like play music. I love to do creative things when I get high. I would say over the years, one of the best pieces of advice as a fellow like cannabis lover is try not to do complicated, annoying things when you're high. Like try to really enjoy it and enjoy that state moment. Change. Yeah, enjoy that state change for like something beautiful. Don't try to be like, I'm gonna use this to get everything done, to like go to school. Like no. Why you're like dampening yourself, and you think you're actually getting something out of it. Like, and I can say that because I've done it too. So I know how easy it is, especially if you have it all around you. Like one of the new hacks, or like I've been talking about this for a while, so it's not really new for me, but I think it's important to not have your weed shit all around you. Like I think it's very difficult for young people. They always have their shit all around. I know, but you have it all around you. But I think that's genuinely a bad idea, because you're creating all these triggers for yourself that every time you see it, you have to battle that thought of, should I get high? No, if you understand that you want to be more self-aware, then one of the things you need to do is put it away and actually make it a process for yourself to like go and get it. Like I disassemble all my shit once I'm done. I put it away. Like I'll like put it away in the drawers and the containers and shit. Like, and then if I have to do it again, then I gotta like get through sometimes I'll be sitting there, I'm like, I want to get high. I'm like, fuck it, I'm just gonna go to bed. Like, like that nighttime when it's like you've already been high and you're like about to go to bed. Like, I should take another hit before I go to bed. And like, I swear to God, because I put shit away 9 out of 10 times now, I'm just like,
just won't.
Fuck it.
It's a little harder now that we've got, vaporizers, the dry herb. It's made the accessibility so easy.
I see you got the volcano back there, boy. That thing, you can turn that thing on and leave it on day.
I've got a Coroma there. That thing is even better than a volcano. It plugs on top of a bong. It's a ball vape. It plugs on top.
You know what I did is I saw you have that. I was doing what you were doing with that new device you just showed with the Mighty or the Crafty by putting.
You put it on it. Yeah, I've got the water pipe. It's good, bro.
It's so good. It's so good. I don't think there's any better way to vaporize than that. That's it.
So when I was doing the break in February, I realized that I had to actually put things away. So I actually did. I cleaned up the room, moved things away. And then after February, I actually assembled a much bigger weed shrine.
Fuck it. Go the other side.
I just went heavier on it, but that was partly because I started wanting to do more YouTube videos. That was part of the thing. And I'm like, I want to have a cool background. And just because of like the space that I'm in and the people I work with, that's all good. I've very much learned, that self-restraint on cannabis. I've worked on that for quite a few years. So I'm not too bad. I often now, when I grab the vape, if it's through the day, I'm like, why am I having this? That's the first question I ask. And
the why question.
If I can truly be like, no, this is actually going to help me here, I'll do it. Yesterday, this is a bit sad, to be honest. It was about, I don't know, 3:00. My mum calls and she tells me a family friend of ours has passed away. And I'm like, fuck.
Sorry to hear that.
And, someone I only see maybe once a year around Christmas time and that sort of thing, but he has good memories within my childhood. And I talked to my mum and I'm like, that's sad. And I'm like, I'm pretty autistic with my feelings. I often don't know what I'm feeling a lot of the time until a little later. I need to feel that. And weed actually helps me so much understand what I'm actually feeling. That's probably why I consume cannabis nightly, is because I want to know what I felt throughout the day. Sometimes I just can't. And I get off the phone and I just start going, fuck, fuck. And I just start crying. And, you know, I really didn't expect to have that reaction. But I felt through it. I felt through those emotions, and it was, I came to. And then I got a little high to kind of help kind of
Loosen
feel
it up.
that, loosen it and not feel as much, but feel it still.
Yeah.
Because I find weed just magnifies your emotions and your feelings even more
Yes,
so.
100%.
But at the same time, it gives you comfort of those feelings. It lets you feel them without almost being crippled. I don't know how else to put it. Some feelings can be so heavy that you're just crippled and you're almost convulsing, shaking, panic attack, whatever. But I got a little high, and then all these fucking memories of my childhood of like that, the family friend came to me and all the things I loved about him. And then I realized, holy shit, he was actually a bit of a role model to me. He was one of the first people I knew that was in business. And, there's all these things. And I probably would have gotten there without weed, don't get me wrong. But weed made it just so apparent.
Yeah.
And like, it made me come to like a spiritual connection with his death.
Oh, yes.
Like, I was just like, what the fuck? And, I didn't even really equate it to weed, but, reflecting on it after, I was like, the weed opened up all of those neuro pathways to everything that I had known about the guy. And I don't know, like, is that a negative use of cannabis or a positive use?
We can
who's to say?
100%.
Someone would say I'm masking emotion. Others would say I'm embracing it.
I think that's what I think that's the point. It's like, we can sit here and talk about weed and how great it is all day. I think anybody that smokes weed and continues to do it knows that it's fucking great. So that's why that conversation is kind of a dead end, because it is fantastic. But this is where I feel like we're balancing out by talking about, using it too much, where it loses that touch, where you get high and you're not even getting high. You're like low to medium, and you have to then like take bigger hits, go on to concentrates. Dude, like, it's like, where do you go?
Concentrates are so dangerous to me. Like, if I had, because here it's hard to get dabs, right?